going to show you, this is an animated GIF done in Photoshop with the timeline animation feature. And I'm going to show you how we get to this point. So when I press play, my duck does a little dance, okay? And I'm going to show you the steps on how to get here, okay? It's actually quite simple. It's just a few important features that you need to remember. One of them is the import, how to quickly import multiple images, and then where to find the timeline, okay? So to get started, you're gonna wanna open up a new document. Okay, so I'm gonna go now to the, you might open up Photoshop and you'll be on the home screen. I'm just gonna go ahead and open new. And this time we have been working in print mode. What we want to do this time is work in web mode, okay? Because what we're completing is something that's going to be seen on the web. So it needs to be actually kind of a smaller document in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out all of the presets. And what I would recommend for this is a small, so something very small. Again, GIF animations are very small. They can be opened up easily in browsers. So go ahead to the Web Small preset and click it over to portrait mode, okay? And you can also title it critter underscore animation. So this is going to be your final critter animated file. Now you want to save one with your layers and all your raw data, and then one that's just the GIF that's active. Press create, and you see you get this small little artboard here. Now the next thing I'm going to go to is window, and I'm going to take away the timeline, because when you first open this up, if you haven't done timeline animation, this won't be active. So I'm going to click that off, and this is most likely what your screen is going to look like. You don't have that little timeline button bar at the bottom because you haven't activated it. So after I show you how to import the images, I'm going to show you how to activate that as well. So to import our images and do this quickly, you're doing kind of a batch load. So you want to go over to File, and not New or Open, none of those, not even Import for that matter. You want to go to a Scripts, okay? It's the Scripts feature in the File menu. And what this allows you to do is load files into a stack. So if you're ever doing GIFs, maybe a quick stop motion, again, a quick timeline animation, that means a drawing that's done in steps. You want to use the scripts command in File, okay? So go to Scripts, go to Load Files into a Stack, and it's going to take you, or it's going to ask you where you want to do that from. And so you're going to press Browse so that you can look for the location. Okay. Should take you to the last thing you had open. Again, I was working earlier today in the Art 250 folder, so it's taking me to those critters that I saved from Illustrator. And remember, I toggled the visibility on the layers so that I could create a few different steps, a few different things that my critter did. Now we saved both in PNG and GIF with transparent backgrounds. So we can, since we're making a GIF, just use our file, our still file that we saved in the GIF format. That will be a little easier in the end. So if you do Command click, you can grab all three GIFs and then go ahead and press open. Okay? It's going to stack them here. That shows you here what it is you're actually loading in. I don't need to automatically align, and I also don't need to create a smart object. That is not necessary for this. Go ahead and press OK. And you're going to see Photoshop go through a process right now of loading and stacking your layers for you. Okay? Now, you can see it puts one on the top because it's thinking of it in the sense of layered files for image editing. I'm actually going to reverse these just to make my life easier. So one is actually at the bottom because that's my first thinking of it in order. You can, you could leave them in the default order. If you have a lot, I would say do that. So 1, 2, 3. But for the sake of this and the way I'm usually used to thinking, I'm just going to go ahead and put 1 at the bottom, 2 above that, and 3 above that. Okay. And they're all visible right now. So you can see there's a little bit of where I move the nose, you can see it's a little offset. Okay, so now to animate, I'm going to have to open up the timeline animation panel. So I go to Window, scroll down to Timeline, check on it, and then you see that come up. Okay? Actually, the default will be Video Timeline. So this is what you're going to see. You see from the drop-down menu, you have a couple different options here. Default will be video. It's not what we're going to use, so I'm going to show you how to change that. So to change that, press that arrow, go to Frame Animation, that's what you want this on, and then you click right on those words, Frame Animation, and it will start with the first image that's visible and create that for you, okay? I actually am going to switch this, so now it's set it all up. So I had everything visible when I did that, and it set me up with my first little frame animation there. It's not technically what I want. I actually just want to start with the original critter without any of the tweaking that I did. So I'm going to toggle off the visibility for the other 2 layers, keep the original O1 open, and then I'm going to press the plus symbol. This is actually image 2 is the one I want to start with. So I'm going to click over to image 1 and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Delete the frame? Yes. So now I'm starting with a clean frame. Now this is just like we did in Illustrator. To get to the second animation, I'm going to toggle the visibility for the second one and take the first one off. Now I'm going to click over to the side so I don't get that bounding box or that frame because that will show. And then I'm going to press the plus symbol and my second frame is going to be my second motion. Go back and take the visibility off, put the third image on, press the plus symbol, and then I get animation number 3. Okay? For the last one, I'm going so I can round it out. I'm going to go back to the original, press the plus symbol, and then I have number 4. Okay? Now, I might want to loop this a couple times so it actually, so you can see in my original, let's move over to here, oh, sorry, maybe over here, oh, it's not showing, sorry. But as you saw in the original, it was dancing at the original, at the start of this movie. So what I want to do is actually make more frames. I want to duplicate all of these so that I can have it loop a few more times. Okay, so to do that, I actually can now work in the timeline. So I'm going to click on the first image. I'm going to shift click on the last image, which selects them all. And then you see if I press plus, it just automatically duplicates all of them. Okay. Now, one thing it doesn't do is duplicate them in order. So to do that, I'm going to have to either, I can do a double, so it kind of rearranged my order. So I need to go ahead and move my original back to the front. Okay, so you kind of have to look at these. You can see I have 2 main ducks in a row. So you kind of have to click through just to make sure that you're doing the animation right. Back to the original, click, click, right? This is dancing, this one, back to the original. Okay, and then I can delete that because that's 2 of the same. Okay. If you want to, you can do it one more time. So you can shift and click. You can press plus and duplicate them all, and then kind of get rid of and rearrange anything you don't need. Okay, there we go. So now I've done it a total of 10 times. Click. So if you click through, you can see it's dancing. Okay. Now it's at 0 seconds frame rate. So if I click this, it's going to be really, really fast. So I want to change that. I actually am going to go down. So to do that, I can just click on the drop down. I usually do around 2 seconds. Okay. You can change the speed on each one if you want. If you want one part of it to go faster and the other part to go slower, you can do that too. Okay. You could change this before you duplicate, and then you wouldn't have to go through all these steps in all 10 frames. For something that's such small amount of frames, this really isn't that big of a deal to do it by hand. But if you got up to 30 frames, that would be kind of difficult. So just trying to show you the shortcuts. Go ahead and press play and see if you like the speed. I do. Okay, and that calls it good. Again, if you want to change any of the frame rates, you can. So maybe here, if I just wanted it to move faster through the main part, I could do that too. So let's start at the beginning. Might be a little bit better. It pauses a little bit less. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then that will run on the loop. So when you export it, it will just loop. If it was in a browser, it will keep going and going and going. It won't stop. Okay, so we're done with our GIF. It's time to export it. Go to File, Export, and again, this is similar to Illustrator, so Save for Web. Okay. What you get here, and then you'll have the original will be in the first panel, optimized in the second. 2 up will give you a couple different options. Again, the original is a large file, 1.85 megabytes, so it's not going to show in the internet well. 4 up gives you more options. Okay, so you can see here I have the original, which is large, 88% dither. That means 128 colors, and then the dither is helping the computer find out the blending where the colors were taken away. Okay, it's kind of technical, not something you really have to worry about. What you should look at is the size, and 178.3K is not that bad for the internet. That should play. That's a fairly small file. So go up here, make sure that you're selecting the preset that matches your other selections, GIF 128, and then make sure you do 128 dithered. You can pick dither or no dither. I'm just picking dithered so it looks a little smoother. Okay. And then press Save. And title. Here you're done, so you could do critter, animate, final. Okay, and then you put it in your folder. This is on my desktop. I'm still going to have to drag it into my Google Drive. Okay, and then you are done with that portion. Let me go ahead and open up 250 where I saved this file. Okay, and if it is saved properly, I have 2 now, it will animate. Okay, so even in the preview, it will move. Okay, this file, you need to open up your Google Drive and save it in a separate folder. And inside of the Google Drive, if it's saved correctly, it will do this. Whatever animation you made it do, it will show in the preview. Okay, if it's not doing that, that means you saved it too large. Okay, so you didn't make it small and web accessible. That is, you don't have to do Jiffy. If you just go through these steps and make this animation in Photoshop, that completes this portion of the assignment. Okay, that's all for now. Let me know if you have any questions.